Teaching is a process of guiding others in their pursuit to learn, helping them discover what interests them, identifying obstacles that must be overcome, providing them with the skills and tools to investigate new ideas, and then watching proudly as they open doors to a world of new possibilities. But teaching is so much more than just ensuring that students are exposed to content. It is an ongoing process of inspiration, finding ways to inspire students to learn, hoping to spark a love for the learning process, and watching as students become inspired to continue their pursuits on their own, and in doing so, allowing myself to be inspired to start the cycle again. To quote Sidney J. Harris, the whole purpose of education is to turn mirrors into windows. It is my responsibility to move students beyond the recitation of information and push them towards applying that information to their personal experiences, thinking critically about its applications, and form their own views of the world. The practice of teaching resides in my care, hope, and responsibility towards learners. Everything I do in regards to education comes from the way I care about the lives of learners, the hope I have for their future, and the responsibility I take in the learning process. In the 21st century, students are surrounded by information. Formulas, dates, and definitions are only a click away. This is true for educators as well. As a lifelong learner and dedicated teacher, I must continue to access and apply new research related to the learning process. Although information is easily accessible, learning itself is an act of discovery. It's personal and unique. One of my greatest responsibilities is to help learners become aware of and begin to consider the ways in which they think about thinking. When students know about metacognition, their learning becomes more effective. By teaching them how learning occurs, the control they have over utilizing learning strategies, and providing them with opportunities to monitor and adjust those strategies, I am giving them ownership over their own learning process. While learners are thinking about thinking, I need to be thinking about teaching. In order to ensure that learning objectives are met, I need to create the conditions under which learning occurs. By considering strategies for presenting new information and selecting activities that promote the processing of that information, I have begun my process of instructional design. This allows me an opportunity to examine my course content, consider the needs of my students, and think about the necessary learning outcomes. My goal is to see that learners receive access to new ideas and opportunities to incorporate those ideas into their personal experience. In order to address the learning needs of my students, I believe it is vital to assess their abilities and the quantity and quality of their prior knowledge. In doing so, I am able to identify any gaps in understanding, misconceptions, or incorrect information that may prevent them from achieving success in my course. Understanding students' prior knowledge extends to taking their personal experiences and cultural beliefs into account. Knowing student backgrounds, both academic and social, allows me an opportunity to consider the impact those perspectives might have as we move through the material. By exploring those interests and existing perceptions about course material, I have an opportunity to present content in a way that highlights professional and cultural relevance to them. Engaging students in relevant applications ensures there are opportunities for them to begin processing the information on a personal level. By exploring their interests and existing perceptions about the course material, I have an opportunity to present content in a way that highlights professional and cultural relevance to them. Engaging students in relevant applications ensures there are opportunities for them to begin processing the information on a personal level. Making the connection between course material and personal experience is a stepping stone to engaging them in deeper levels of processing. Utilizing activities and assignments that require increasing degrees of processing is essential for helping students learn and retain information. Not only is it vital for students to build connections, they must also learn to select a method for organizing those concepts. Rather than leave the selection to the discretion of each student, I prefer to illustrate organizational structures that support appropriate pathways for retrieving this data. Having learners reflect on connections, why we made them, how we organized them, and even the processes we used to learn them is a valuable tool. I continue to use reflection in my professional life to examine the effectiveness of my teaching strategies, evaluate my expectations of student learning, and determine changes I need to make to my instructional design. That design helps create a classroom atmosphere. In an effort to foster divergent thinking, I allow students the freedom to explore new solutions. I provide an environment where it is safe to take risks, and I encourage them to be curious and critical about the world around us. The traditional classroom model of lecturing still has a place in pedagogy, provided it is one of many models and does not ask students to be passive recipients of knowledge. I think it is important to heed the words of John Dewey. If we teach today's students as we taught yesterday's, we rob them of tomorrow. When we move away from traditional models of instruction, we have the ability to employ and promote 21st century skills, such as developing fluency in information gathering, using critical thinking to creatively solve problems, and communicating and collaborating with others. The best measure of learning is the ability to apply new knowledge in unique and authentic situations. This is not always possible in the context of a traditional classroom. My primary expectation is that learners will engage with the content, actively process their experiences with it, and reflect on the meanings they have created. The doors we open and close each day decide the lives we live. I believe in teaching others to become active learners by opening doors that create opportunities for them to explore and enjoy education, guiding them as they expand their own knowledge, and then watching proudly as they walk out of that classroom door and into a world of possibilities.